You here for frame perfect input? Like, come inside. Like, I can just open the door for you here now, and you can come in. Like, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's go. Come on. God damn, that rain is insane. Haha, man, this is the time when I choose to do a new episode for frame perfect input, and of course, it's when it's raining. Isn't that fun? Anyways, hi. Welcome to Frame Perfect Input episode, I believe, 4. But as of the making of this, episode 3 hasn't even been made yet. But, wait, no, actually, this would be episode 3. Whoops. You didn't hear that. This is episode 3. Welcome. I'm Misty, Misty Mist on YouTube, and you're here for some video game discussion. I'm guessing, anyways. So let's get to it. Today, I actually wanted to go back in time to a game series that I absolutely loved back in the day, but right now it doesn't actually exist anymore. It exists in other forms, with other companies making games with that formula, but the problem is the fact that it just isn't the same. Let me talk about the game series Fight Night. Now, you may have actually heard of Fight Night. If you grew up like during my time, if you were born in like the early 2000s and grew up playing games on the PlayStation or the Xbox, of course, either one works, you definitely have heard of Fight Night. Fight Night was a game series made by EA. It was EA Sports, and it was, as you may understand from the name, a boxing game. It was a very good boxing game. Like, I grew up playing Fight Night '04 so much. It was such a good game. And they had a lot of good games in that series. So it's very odd that they decided, you know what, let's pull the plug, This game sucks. And on the surface level, I understand that, because if you check out their final Fight Night game, which was Fight Night Champion, the reviews aren't amazing. They're okay in terms of critics and all that, but they weren't that amazing. And at the time, it was a bit weird for people, as it usually goes. And nowadays, a lot of stuff becomes loved or amazing, the normal stuff. But Fight Night as a whole has been an amazing series of boxing games, always innovating and doing something brand new, or just being really good at what it does. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Fight Night. I got my notes here because, it's much better to be prepared for these things. If you saw the first episode of Frame Perfect Input, you would know how lost I was and I kept running on about random things. So let's get to it. The first thing I wanted to talk about was maybe like the pros. Fight Night was one of the best boxing series, at least realistic boxing series around. Easily, in my opinion, and I would say it could even be objective, that Fight Night was indeed one of the best boxing games around. And I've played Fight Night '04, I played a little bit of Fight Night Round 3, not enough to put any critiques onto it, but I have played plenty of Fight Night Champion as well. So, as you can see, I've got a lot of experience, kind of, when it comes to what games they had and seeing the progression that they went through. Because if you grew up playing Fight Night, or if you played a lot of Fight Night '04 is a completely different game to Fight Night Champion. But both of them I absolutely love, and how they do it, how they have the mechanics and everything. Let's take this slow. Let's slow down a bit. So yeah, I played '04, I played Round 3 kind of, and I played Champion. So you know my background on the series. Fight Night '04 to me, like for a long time and still right now, is easily one of the best sports games that EA has actually made. Or in general, in terms of sports games, realistic sports games. Let me get that in there. Realistic sports games, because if you go into the broad thing, sports games in general, you might be thinking like Blitz or NBA Jam or anything like that. But no, I'm talking about specifically realistic sports games. I know that includes racing, but let's pretend it doesn't. Anyways, I feel '04 is amazing. It's superb. But why is that? Well, career mode is one thing I absolutely love in that game. Career mode, you get it's the thing you'd expect, but this is when they actually set the mold for the series, because to my knowledge, '04 is basically the first Fight Night to me, anyways. You have your like character creation stuff, pretty in depth, I would say, adding tattoos, hairstyles, facial structures, and all that stuff. There is also the type of fighter you can do, even though it was kind of basic back then. It was still decent for its time, for sure. You could also, if I'm remembering correctly, you can choose a real life fighter and start off from the beginning with them. Career mode was pretty fun to play. Of course, it wasn't like how Fight Night Champion had two different ways, which was the Legacy career mode and the Story mode, which was a specific character with specific scenarios that would happen. It was on rails. This one is like the Legacy mode. Obviously, it would be Legacy mode. That's how they started with it. Anyways, I'm going off track. The career mode was good with its character creation. You can name your character, obviously. I mean, if you didn't have that ability, that would be really weird. Gloves, trunks, shoes, all that stuff was there. Builds, you can be stocky, you can be super thin. You have the different weight classes you can go to. It's not nearly as much as, say, Champion, which has a bajillion freaking weight classes, because at that time they had more, but it was still a good amount. And how the career mode worked was, well, if you play Champion Legacy mode, you would know, but the way it works is you start from rank 50, I believe, and you work your way up, choosing who you fight, getting money from them. The harder the fight, which is usually the higher the rank, the more money you get from that. And you would just constantly climb and until you get to rank 1, which is, of course, the top rank. There's also the fact that it is, well, like FIFA and all that stuff, it would have the calendar system, so fights would happen kind of realistically how they do, how there would be space and everything. I'm just going to say this now. It's not an unlimited time, which, depends on the person if it's bad or good. But if you want to go endlessly fighting a bunch of different people and all that stuff, that's not the best, but I can understand why they wouldn't want to keep going forever, because then there will be a point where it just blows itself up mechanically. Yeah, blows itself up in the code and everything. So, I understand, but I would love it if it was infinite. Anyways, you would climb up the ranks, beat people, get money, customize your character, put points into the specific attributes you want to put up. And the attributes they're decent, but some of them some are a bit straightforward with like power is more power. But then there's like other stuff when you're first starting off, like cuts. Does that mean cuts that happen to you, or does that mean your ability to cut your opponent? Or hearts, which I believe is like HP and all that stuff, and when you go down and come back up, you get more health than usual than another person. There's some stats that kind of confused me back in the day, but I get it now. Okay, don't worry. It's a very simple career mode, very simple gameplay loop that works super well. Absolutely love it. I can easily go back to that game now, play it, and just have fun and enjoy it. Now, to get more into it, let's go into the roster a bit. This wasn't on my notes, but I wanted to talk about. The roster is in '04. It's decent. It's a decent roster. You can find, unfortunate misses here. We don't have like Mike Tyson. That's unfortunate. We don't have old man. Oh crap! I forgot his name. Oh, he passed away recently. Ah, god damn it. You know what? I'm gonna search it since I'm here. Let's try that again. They don't have Old Man George Foreman. That's who I wanted to say. Okay, so there's no Mike Tyson, there's no Old Man George Foreman. I don't even know if they have normal George Foreman, like his old school one. It's been a while, okay. They don't have Prince Nassim. They don't have oh crap, man. There's a lot of people that I'm starting to miss here. But they do have a decent roster. They have people like Evander Holyfield. They have do they have Muhammad Ali? Yeah, I think they have Muhammad Ali. They have Joe Frazier, I think, in that game. Wow, I'm really jumping into my memories here because you can see I haven't really played this game in a while, but those memories are coming back. Anyways, they have a lot of people that you would expect from that time who are fighting, and also the big legends at that time, anyways. They were in the game. It was a decent roster that you would fight. Oh, they don't have Manny Pacquiao. That one actually was like really sad, you know, because I'm pretty sure he was fighting at that time. But, you know, personal stuff. But yeah, decent roster. Very good roster for its time, that's for sure. And then they also have, of course, in Korea mode, the created ones, the one that the games create, the one that the game creates. Because of course, if you went purely off of the base roster and only the base roster, a lot of them might retire. And then after that, that means there'll be less people to fight, or they just won't fill up the rankings because there's 50 fighters for each weight class. I don't think that's gonna work. So yeah, good roster, good career mode. Let's go into the mechanics of the game. That is the thing that makes me always go back to the game and absolutely love it. In 04, if you've not played Fight Night 04, then you're missing out. But let me explain the mechanics of it. So, of course, you have the movement options. You can find it with the D-pad, or you can find it with the left analog stick. Now, you might be thinking, how do punches work? Of course, you can set it to buttons, where you can press like square, triangle, and all that stuff to do specific type of punches, straight jabs, hooks, uppercuts. You can do all that stuff for punching. But they had a very good idea, which stuck with them for the rest of their history, which was the right analog stick is how you do your attacks. So if you want to jab, you do up on the stick. Depending on which position you are, you can do left, up, and slightly left to do a jab if you're in the normal stance. Wow, it's been a while. Or you can do jab up. You can do up to the right for your jab if you're in the other position. For some reason, I am not remembering these positions, these stances. That's a bit weird. You see, okay, off of topic here, but you see I've been into skateboarding. So when I was saying stances, I instantly thought of Goofy, which makes no sense. This is fighting. But anyways, here we are. Right, back to it. It's an innovative, at the time, fighting controls. You know, with the right stick, you can control what type of punch you wanted to do. You want to do a hook, you can do left and then half circle up, or right half circle up. You want to do an uppercut? Oh, half circle. I meant quarter circle. If you want to do an uppercut, you do down and then half circle up any direction, left or right. Like, it makes sense. It's cool. It feels good to do. And also, this is something that I really dislike about like the later games, Champion, Round 3, is the fact that when you hold one of those, your character goes into that position to do that punch, but you're not doing the punch because you didn't finish the motion. You can use that animation to avoid a punch. You can slip a punch like that and then finish it off, do the rest of the input. And in this game, there was the possibility of knocking someone out. Okay. That was a phone call. Unfortunate, but I am back after sick. Okay. After getting a drink and getting some food in because I was losing it. All right, where was I again? I think, if I'm correct, at the mechanics. Okay, weaving. Let's start from there. So the right stick, as I was saying, controls how your opponent, wow, controls how you, the character, does punches, throws punches, and all that stuff. What I was saying before was there's a thing that existed in '04 that doesn't exist anymore for some reason. It is the fact that if you hold on one side, so let's say you pull your stick to the right side, any direction, let's say just 90 degrees, instantly go right. You'll be in the set position to do a hook, but you're not actually doing the hook, but you are weaving. And the cool thing is, you can weave a punch, finish the input, and go into it, and go into a hook. Why is that so good? Oh, burping. Why is that so good? Well, the reason why that is so good is because of the fact that you get to weave a punch, and then you get to throw your punch immediately after. And in '04, there is a thing that happens. I think it depends on the amount of power your character has, but let's say you have max power. You've maxed it out, trained as hard as you could, and you maxed out that stat specifically. If you weave and then you go into the punch, that counts as a counter hit punch. And if you have max power, that means they instantly go down. This does exist in Champion, or in other ones as well, Fight Night Round 3, Round 4, all that stuff. The counter hit punch and instant knockdown or knockout does exist, but they don't have the weave that comes from loading your punch and then finishing it off to counter. In those games, they instead have, an inbuilt button to move your character around and weave stuff like that, which Fight Night 04 does have as well, but it doesn't have the extra one where you can hold a punch to then go for it, which is unfortunate, but, it was pretty cool. One of the main reasons why I love '04. Okay, so that's how the mechanics work for, punching. The whole thing that I loved about it was how punching worked, and that is how it works. And for that reason, I still go back to the game to play the game, to go through a career mode, to get to rank 1, and it is always fun, always amazing. I love it every single time. It's a gaming loop that works superbly, and I recommend you go check that game out. '04 is amazing. And also, to completely round off '04 with how good the game is, the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. I love the soundtrack. Like, in terms of soundtracks for sports games, that is easily in the top 3. It's pretty damn good. It's pretty good. Of course, if you don't like rap, you're not going to like it. Let's say you're coming from a FIFA game. Let's say FIFA 06. You go from FIFA 06's soundtrack and you love that into Fight Night 04. You're probably not going to like it. You're not going to like it if you absolutely love that style and nothing else, because you're not going to like, a complete shift into rap music, which is what Fight Night 04 is. The opening song, I still remember it vividly even. I've heard it so many times that I just know the song back to front. Was one of my favorite songs in an EA soundtrack until, some stuff happened. If you look at who's on that list of who's singing in that song, you'll get what I mean. But I'll leave it at that. Soundtrack is amazing. It's not a big soundtrack. Maybe it's like 8 songs or something like that, which is decently sized for its time. But yeah, great soundtrack. So to round that off for that area, for pros basically, for why Fight Night is so good and why it should come back, it's the fact that Fight Night is it's one of the best at doing, boxing. You throw punches and you get that feedback of every single punch you throw. the way that the mechanics work is so fluid, so satisfying from '04 to round 2, round 3, round 4 champion, all that. They all have fluid gameplay. From round 3, it changes the style, but I still like that style. It's still very good. It isn't as loose and flowy, I guess you would say, maybe, as '04, but it is very tight in its gameplay. And I absolutely love that one as well because it goes in the champion, which I played a lot, so I basically know that. Um, Soundtrack is another point for it. If you absolutely love gaming soundtracks, that is a good soundtrack. So yeah, that's another reason. Career mode, the character creations, the way you climb that ladder to get to the top, and also an extra bit. Make sure you don't wait forever to get rank 1 because then the game will just auto retire you. So you have to actually finish your career mode before you get too old. So yeah, don't fall into that trap because I did that by accident. Anyways, now we talk about how boxing games are nowadays. But before that, we're gonna take a break before we, continue with this episode. This very interesting and compelling stuff here. For sure, maybe, I don't know, because this was pre-recorded. Anyways, let's take a break, sit back, relax. If you're in a car, maybe park on the side, get yourself a drink, get some food in, get that energy back up, and yeah. You ready? Let's get back into that episode because I've got some more to talk about, I'm sure. Again, I'm pre-recorded, so yeah. Let's get back into this. Let's go. Boxing games nowadays, it's they try to go off of the structure, the plan, the game plan that Fight Night did. Last game, Fight Night Champion. They base it off of basically that. The game I am referring to, hopefully I'm not getting this wrong, is Undisputed. Let me actually fact check that right now, since I can. Alright, I have fact checked it. It is indeed Undisputed. You can find it on Steam. For me, it cost $83 to $84 New Zealand dollars. Currently, recent reviews is mixed, with 191 being in that pool, and then English reviews is also mixed, being 12,000, almost 13,000 from that pool. So clearly, they're not doing it very well. And I know a little bit of Undisputed to actually talk about it, so I will try my best to, paint the picture of what boxing games are like now. All right, Undisputed. It's trying to do what Fight Night did, starting from Fight Night Champion, and how it moves, how you weave, how you block, how you punch. All of it is basically the Fight Night Champion style. So if you're moving from Fight Night Champion into Undisputed, then it's something that you will know pretty well. You'll be pretty used to that style. But that's about where it ends with its similarities. You don't have that tight gameplay. It's following it, but it's not quite the same. Fight Night Champion, I was praising it for the fact that it has this very tight gameplay, very polished, and like how you move and how you dodge, weave, throw punches and everything feels fluid. The reactions to when the punches hit someone feel solid. It's great. It's good to see. Like, EA doesn't do this anymore. That was one of the last games, basically, where they did something pretty damn good with the feel and visually the visual feedback and all that. You go to Undisputed, which is trying to be that game, and it doesn't quite do it. It doesn't really do it quite well. Let me go into that real quick. So, the mechanics, the whole point of this is pretty damn janky. It just doesn't really work the same way as Fight Night does. It's just not loose if you go into the '04 direction, and it's not very tight and polished if you go into the Fight Night Champion direction. It's very damn janky. Moves just don't. It's basically if you go into wrestling, how they have selling of moves, nothing's being sold. It's like you're throwing freaking pillows at everyone. You're throwing noodles because your arms, for some reason, like to break and go into very weird positions. When it connects to someone, it doesn't look like it was a strong, solid punch. It looks like you just chucked an arm that has no bones at someone and was hoping for some type of damage. I might be a bit harsh here, but to my memories of seeing it and how I feel, that's basically what it is. You chuck your arms and flail and everything and hope you knock them out. That's what the game looks like. The movement when you're moving around, from the looks of it, isn't very good either. It also looks janky and robotic and not very real. This game actually disappoints me because it's right there. Just do these small things, maybe some big things, you'll be fine. But it's not fixing it. It might be an engine issue. It might be how they've built it or something, something there. But man, I'm burping a lot. But it's just missing it. It's just missing out on so many key points that it doesn't feel right. So I talked about the jankiness with its movement, with its punches. There was also at one point where the heavy punch was so fucking broken that you can just throw it out willy-nilly. You don't lose too much energy. Energy regen comes back really quickly, and you can throw it out to get insane punches with insane damage. No punishing ability at all on the defending side, and you'll just get knocked out by it. Super dumb, super brain-dead gameplay, sounds like Tekken, and of course, wasn't very good, wasn't very healthy. People were stuck with that for months until they finally kind of patched it out by making it slow you down, I think, and lose a lot of energy and all that. But during that time, people still spammed, but you could actually deal with it at that time. I don't think you had that ability when you go to champion. If you threw out a huge punch, you were literally wide open, like in real life. You put everything into that. You missed. You're stuck in that position forever. You are just stuck. And they can throw 1 or 2 punches to get counter hit punches. Not just normal, but counter hit punches to do extra damage to your failed attempt at doing a huge punch. And man, making me want to play champion again. But yeah, you can throw heavy punches in that game, but you would whiff, you would be stuck, and you could potentially die from that because of the insane power you can build in that game if you do the right builds. Back to Undisputed anyways. Janky movements, they had that heavy punch problem. To me, visually looks kind of unrealistic with how everyone moves, like all the characters move, and how they just are built, mesh and all that stuff. It just doesn't look right. How they move is trash. I don't like that either. But then there's also the fact when you compare it visually to, say, what is this again? Champion. You compare it visually to Champion. 10 times out of 10, not 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I will choose Fight Night Champion over Undisputed. The game came out in the PS3 era. The PS fucking 3 era. And Undisputed doesn't beat it visually. That's that's very sad and very disappointing because you think they would do it better, with all the stuff we have now. But no, they have not. That one is like a really disappointing point. Literally, I just wrote, visually, I feel Champion is leagues better. That's what I wrote down. That's how I feel. And I don't think they're ever going to change that one. Of course, you can't really blame them that much. It was EA versus like an indie studio, so can't say much. Anyways, I just want boxing games to come back. I really do want them to come back. I want EA, as much as I hate EA, and as much as I am very scared about what EA will do if they do decide to bring boxing back, I just want Fight Night to come back, man. Because Fight Night has brought back so many memories for me. It's just an amazing game series for sports in general. They did it so well. They have the formula right there for boxing to feel nice, to actually get all that feedback, to have great soundtracks to accompany it, to grow and climb that ladder. It felt very good to do. So, like, EA, come on, man. Can't you bring back boxing? Like, we kind of need a game like that right now. And with all the stars in boxing right now, I just feel like it's a good time to come back, you know? So please, come on, EA. Come back. We kind of need a boxing game to fill that void, you know, that you left with Champion. You know, that one? Yeah, you know, we kind of need you to come back. So please, I beg you, please come back. Yo, thanks for listening to this episode of Frame Perfect Input. Yes, this marks the end of the episode, but we're on every week. When, you may ask? We come out with new episodes on Tuesday, on Friday, and sometimes we have a bonus episode that appears on the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday. Sometimes we'll be there, sometimes I won't. Depends on what is happening in the gaming sphere or how I feel in that moment. So, if you are interested in that, then stay tuned. Maybe hit that bell, follow us on Spotify, do whatever you must if you want to stay on track with what we have in store for you. You can find me on YouTube at Misty Mist, spelt Misty, MYSTYMST. And yeah, I'll see you next time on the next episode. I'll see you later, and hopefully the cooks are in next time.